Hello, and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Yeah, on the Bitcoin chart, we take a look at the daily first. Daily chart provides us with the bigger picture, and we can see that there are currently two scenarios on this chart. In the first scenario, and we've already entered that support area recently on Friday, in the first scenario, the wave 4 is unfolding, which is a corrective structure, often more like a sideways correction. For this scenario, the support level of $35,000 is important. Now I have to say, it doesn't mean we have to come down to 35, but it takes a $35,000 level break to suggest that something more bearish is happening. For now, I assume that we are in this fourth wave because we're holding above support. But I also assume that the correction isn't yet finished, so we'll just need to see if the 35K level is holding or not. And if it does, a fifth wave to possibly 65K is expected. Yeah. But first of all, this fourth wave needs to unfold, and it might take a little while to complete. Could be several weeks or even months for a fourth wave to complete, especially on this wave degree. So that's one scenario. In this scenario, the price already formed the A wave on Friday with this dip. Now we could get a B wave and then a C wave down into the wave 4 support area. That's one scenario. That's the short term, also short term bullish, if you want to say it like that, because we wouldn't have a very strong or very sharp drop below 35K. 35K should hold support if this scenario is what's playing out, and if support is holding, then we should see a fifth wave afterwards. In another scenario, which is also bullish but short term more bearish, the price would break through 35K, and until it does that, there's no way of saying which one it is. So I've mentioned throughout this increase already in October, November, that if we arrive at this point here around 50K, we will first of all have to assume that the shorter or the nearest support level is going to be relevant, and only if it breaks, only then we can really assume that the B wave is unfolding. However, they are both scenarios for which you should plan. They're both scenarios for which you should plan, especially considering that before halvings historically, there has been a shakeout of traders. There has been a shakeout. There have been deep pullbacks before every halving. Now, I'm not a great, promoter of that because, if something happened in the past, or when something happened in the past, does it mean it has to happen again? Of course not. It's often just the opposite. However, it's still a scenario on the chart, and we have a very clear level to watch, 35K, and we know that if that level breaks, then something more bearish is clearly going to unfold. However, it would only be short-term bearish. It wouldn't be really bearish. I would use this as a gift and basically scale in. Okay, if we come down very low or if we have a very, very strong breakdown or pullback, I should say, in a bullish market, that's a gift. Now, in that period, for example, altcoins might outperform. Depends. I think they might outperform in a wave 4. I'm not sure if they will outperform if we have a very sharp pullback in a B wave, but we'll see. And Ether might start to outperform. We talked about that as well. But yeah, it really takes a break below that 35K level. And then in a, let's say, lower B wave scenario, I also have a support area on the chart with 4 Fibonacci levels that we can watch. 19,870 and 31,558 are the ones that constrain the support zone. So these are the two main support areas relevant for the two main bullish scenarios on this chart. Only if we get a sustained break below that 20K level down there, I will assume that a bear market is back, and then I will probably stop to scale in and wait for basically 8 to 10K maybe. That's nothing I'm expecting right now because we're holding above two massive support areas. I know there are people out there on Twitter that are calling for 10K. Now that's not how the analysis works. That's just, they just point out their opinion and they mention possibilities. Of course it's a possibility, but how can you say that as, if we're holding above support levels? It's just a little bit premature. It's a little bit premature. And just trading based on an opinion doesn't really make any sense. We want to trade based on data, right? Okay, so that is what makes sense. So Let's go to the shorter time frame, and we're now on the 1 hour chart. This hasn't really changed since the last video. The idea is still that somewhere in this region we should see a bounce and a B wave could start. If you see a bounce above 44k, that's the signal, that's our signal that this B wave might have started. And ideally such a B wave would react to either 45k, 46k or 47.3k. I've added the 38.2 retracement level as well, because it's sometimes a level where, for example, the A wave in the B wave reacts. Remember that also a B wave is a 3-wave move, so something like that could happen. A, B, C, okay? Just pointing out where the A wave could react to. And at the moment, I have no evidence that the B wave has started. It could have, and I'm very much watching for a B wave right now, but as long as we stay below 44k, one more low is possible into this region here. So that means if there is one more low, this is the area where we can watch for another reaction, possibly 40,570, 40,295 and 39k. So just some projections, not super reliable, but some projections where the price might find a reaction and then start the B wave from there. At the moment, you also should see or should take note of the fact that the price is still holding the trend line above the trend line. So, you know, it also takes a break. I think, you know, if we break below that trend line, that would be an initial signal that the 5th wave of the A wave has started. Please be aware that an A wave doesn't need 5 waves. An A wave only needs 3. But at the moment, due to the consolidation, another low seems possible and probable. But it's not anything I would trade for, given that an A wave can also have 3 waves. Okay, so it's just sort of literally the last bit that could happen here to the downside, and nothing that needs to happen. So I'm very much watching for this B wave to start either from here or from down here. And then as soon as we get into the B wave resistance area, we can watch these fibs for potential reactions and a potential start for wave C to the downside. This is probably what we're going to watch for next week as we're heading into a new trading week. But I don't think there's anything else to add. So I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.